Introduction to ERP. So SAP is basically an ERP software. What is an ERP? ERP stands for Enterprise Resource Planning. It deals with SAP provides a solution for the enterprise level. Enterprise means a company, a organization. Resource means man, machine, material, and money, and other things that is required to run an organization. Planning means efficiently and effectively use of various resources to meet the organization goal. Now, in this case, goal can be a product, a product like a mobile phone, a product like a car, a product like a house or a flat. So, organization goal is to reach up to that particular. Suppose for manufacturing a car, what are the things required? We require tire, we required engine, we required colors. So these are materials. Again, we required body, aluminum body, we required airbags. So these are again material. Now, who will work on this material? Because a raw material will be there. So who will work and make it a finished product? So machinery and man is required. Now to purchase this raw material, machinery, bring people to work, money is required. So ERP deals with how we can efficiently use this man, machinery, and material and plan in a way so that organization goal can be efficient. With low price they can produce maximum volume at this less time, in less time. So what is the need of ERP? See, everything was already existing. Car manufacturing was there, food supply was there, house building was there. Then why does ERP came into picture? ERP system was used by organization for looking to manage their business function with centralized and integrated system. With the event of time, these multinational companies, national companies, and global companies came into being. Now it's very difficult to manage a company which has branches in various countries. Different countries has different laws, different taxation norms, different restrictions, use of plastic, use of silicon compound, use of electronic devices. Then they have their technical bars, which technology they can use, which they cannot use. Depend on those things, it was very difficult for an organization like Unilever. Unilever is a consumer goods manufacturing company which provide two-third goods in the world. So it's very difficult to manage. Something is banned in some country, something other is allowed, whereas some other place commodity, some other commodity is banned. So to deal with such a large organization, we need to maintain the data at centralized location. How do we know the profit? What is the profit of Unilever when they are dealing with some 20-30 countries? So that's why it was very difficult even for a state level, if country level. If you see, suppose Tata Motors, if they wanted to understand where how much stock is there, they have plants in 5 6 states, then they have something in process manufacturing, then they have some raw materials kept, then there are thousands of people working for them. How they can track each and every people, each and every raw materials to make into, to come into existence? That is why this ERP mainly came into being. Now even they, if you they go with the books and accounts with physical books, so initially what happens, this they have segregated their departments like finance department, logistics department, human resource department. So each department centrally was looking after all the affairs. But problem was efficiency. Suppose a goods receipt has happened, somebody has delivered goods, and we have gave them a receipt, like we have acknowledged that invoice is being generated that this supplier has supplied us 100 amount of goods. But finance department does not know about these goods. So this person has to physically visit finance department, and they have to ask that I have supplied 100 quantity of goods, can you please give me payment? Then finance department will not release payment immediately. They will check with the logistics department whether the material has been received or not, whether the quantity, price, everything is correct in the invoice or not, and then they will release. So as you can understand, it takes days and days of time. So the similarly, human resource department, supply chain department, all were separate departments running in different buildings sometimes. So it's very difficult to communicate between the two departments and make a decision on day to day, where thousands of transactions and hundred thousands of transactions are happening per day. That is why ERP came into being, that we wanted a centralized place where we will get all the informations about man, all the informations about raw material, our machineries, our assets, our liabilities, and our customers. Now they are taking the feedback also on the centralized level, that how is the people giving feedback about some product. Now this also depend upon the culture and the place where the product has been launched. Based on the acceptability of the product, some places they will like it very much, whereas some other places they can completely reject it, because they, that may be against their culture, against their taste, against their style. So that's why ERP, now we will see how ERP controls everything on a centralized location basis, how they are going to deal with centralizedly monitoring man, machine, material, and money. Introduction to SAP. So when did SAP came into being? SAP was founded by 5 IBM engineers in 1972, but that time it was a stand-alone application like Windows. We install in our desktop and then we use it. If hard disk is removed, Windows will not work. So Windows will not work. Now after that they have evolved the SAP system and they bring up multiple modules in the SAP. But SAP is not the only ERP solution available in the market. There are multiple other vendors also who are supplying this ERP. There are different several modules in SAP. SAP has mainly three parts. It has divided into three parts. One is technical module, where ABAP, exchange information, NetWeaver come into picture, that you can see on the left side of the screen. ABAP stands for Advanced Business Application Programming. Like we develop applications on Java, we develop on C. So SAP is developed on ABAP. Is a completely different programming language that has been written for developing the SAP. Next comes to techno-functional modules. It is technical plus functional modules like business intelligence. BI is the one core part, and basis is also the one. We will have a basic introduction of all these modules in the coming slide. Now we have core SAP functional modules, that is the main business component. How the business will run will be handled by these core components. What are these? As usually said, finance handles, FICO module handles the finance and controlling part. Then material management handles the all the material part. Sales and distribution handles the logistics part. Then human resource handles HR part, as the name suggests. So these modules has been segregated. The core business remains what? Finance, material management, sales and distribution, and human resource. So we are bringing material, we are fetching material, and then using sales and distribution we are bringing material in the organization, we are making the people ready, then we are putting some finance on that so that a finished product can be reached. Product planning is also one of the thing in case of complex products are there. Now based on this, but for building the application, for making the application ready, we need advanced ABAP programming language. So SAP is built on ABAP. If you want to customize something, you want to build something different, or you want to make something customized specifically for your organization, then you have to go through ABAP programming language, where you can create forms, you can create screens, and you can define your business logic in the screens. Next comes exchange information, BI. So these are, BI is a techno functional modules. Basis and customer relationship. Customer relationship is taking feedback from customers, how they like the product, what improvement they wanted to have, and other things. Let's start with the next part, overview of SAP modules, where SAP FICO stands for Finance and Controlling. This module is implemented first in SAP. While implementing, suppose an organization which does not have SAP in its organization, it's a, either it is running on different softwares, or it is a old kind of business where departments are segregated on different buildings and they are running without ERP. So in that case, we have to analyze what, how to implement the SAP. So SAP first, FICO is get implemented, because in FICO we define company code, that we will come to later, that it's under the head of company code, other things are defined. Then company code, legal and financial existence of the company came into being. It has multiple submodules. Now FICO deals with almost like all the modules are interlinked with FICO. FICO has to segregate, like if some hundreds and thousands of suppliers are there, more than hundreds and thousands of customers are there, then how do you understand what is the company's liability to pay towards the customer, or to pay towards the vendor, and what is the company's opportunity to get paid from the customer. So we define, then FICO module is divided into multiple submodules, and it is one of the core modules of SAP, where account receivable talks about the money that we are going to receive from the customer. Accounts payable is our liability to pay towards the vendor. Asset accounting is whatever the machines, assets, stocks that we have in our account, that we have in our hand. General ledger account talks about the complete liability to pay towards customers or towards the vendors. Like company, if they sum all the kind of payment that they should made towards the vendor, then that will come under general ledger account. And then bank accounting. Whenever any transaction happens related to this module, it is updated instantly on real time. So as I said you earlier, suppose a vendor has supplied 100 quantity of goods to the company, and now they got the invoice from the party, from the logistics department, that we have received so and so goods in good condition and we are accepting the goods. So previously they have to physically visit the finance department, and they have to go around people to people, table to table, and then they will get their money in few days of time, because even FICO finance team need to recheck with the logistics team whether these things are correct or not. In case of SAP, the moment they are receiving the goods, instantly finance, in case of in we will receive the goods, immediately finance team will get a notice, and invoice will be generated twice. One will be given to the customer, one will be notified to the finance team. So finance team is capable of processing the payment immediately or within few hours. So turnaround time for goods received and payment is very fast, which makes vendors very delighted, and they wanted to work with such organization where payment system is very smooth and fast. Next comes to SAP MM. MM stands for Material Management. It is also one of the core module in SAP. It contains information about vendors, suppliers, and the material that a company purchases, sells, consumes, and produce. So all the kind of material, either they stock it, they purchase it, they sell it, they consume it, whatever, that everything will come under SAP MM. It also helps in managing procurement activity of an organization. How? That we will see in the coming classes. SAP SD stands for sales and distribution. It mainly deals with, suppose a finished product is ready. So now company has to sell this product somewhere outside in the market. So company will receive some orders. Against those orders, they will make the goods go out of the organization. So everything in SAP is tracked very nicely, that whatever the amount of inventory you have, whatever amount of stocks you have, if you receive order, or against that particular order same amount of goods has to be delivered, and sometimes damaged goods will be returned back. So SD also plays a very important role in SAP. Next is HCM. HCM stands for Human Capital Management. Right from hiring a person. Suppose if can an organization work with only with machines and material, or only with finance? Somewhere it has to deal with humans. HCM is deals with creating a position for a person, that this position, suppose an inventory manager is required or some logistics person is required. So in SAP, HCM first create a position, then a person is recruited or hired, and then the position is mapped with the person, that so and so Mr. X is a man who is going to look for inventory management, Mr. Y is a man who is going to look for logistics things. HCM also deals with performance managing promotions, compensations, handling payroll and other related activities of an HR processing. Now this also deals with attendance, absence, disability. Suppose a person who was working in the organization has met with some accident and he became disabled. Now the payment compensation paid to the disabled, basically it was not in a very good shape, because it took lot amount of time to identify that what exactly is the disability, is real disability or not, and then all the medical documents and everything has to be posted in the previous days, and it took many months to come let the compensation come to the right person. But in SAP, the moment the disability happened, that can be triggered in the system, and the finance team will get the information that so and so person has met with such disability, and HR has confirmed his disability, and this is the amount that has been triggered for a compensation payment. So finance people will immediately make the payment. This makes again turnaround time very fast, very speed. So where all the bulky transactions was happening, when all the bulky activities were happening, all the bulkiness has been removed, and now it has been made very smooth, streamlined process. Next comes ABAP. As I said, ABAP stands for Advanced Business Application Programming. This is a programming language that runs in SAP ABAP runtime environment. ABAP is event driven programming. Like every action there will be one reaction. User action and system event control the execution of an application. There are many other business specific IS which was developed by SAP recently. Few of them are IS Retail. IS Retail was designed for retail industry. Then IS Oil is there. IS Oil is defined for oil and gas corporations. Now this MM module may not be very much like compatible to the retail and oil and gas. So SAP took this they have modified the screen, the field name as per the name of the industrial name of that is being used in oil and gas, industrial name used in retail industry, and the fields are modified. So does their business logics are also being modified, and a highly integrated system has been made ready so that these organizations can comfortably go ahead and except they can is readily work with this SAP applications. Now comes the architecture of SAP, how the SAP is designed. As I was telling earlier, in 1972 SAP was one tier architecture. That means it was standalone application like Windows in the system. If you remove the disk, hard disk, yes, Windows will not work. Similarly, that time SAP will also not work. If you wanted to change some UI, you have to change the core part, and during that part you cannot use your hard disk or other things. Now in 1992 they came up with three tier architecture, where presentation layer, that means the screen that user will view, was different. Application layer, or it can be kept in three different servers as well, like presentation layer will be in one server, application layer will be in different server, and data layer will be in different server. Presentation layer provide graphics screen user data on the screen, so process of data to the user. With the effect of these three different completely independent layers, they interact only on the event basis, but these three layers are completely different. Then they come up with multi-language and multi-currency support. So SAP now supports multiple currencies and multiple languages. So based on the country, they can set up their language settings and their currency settings as well. As I was telling, presentation layer deals with the UI part, the UI and look and feel that you receive on the application front. And application layer deals with the validation of the data. Suppose, for example, a student form is there and student is writing numbers in place of the character in the name. Then how comes name be a number? That is why a validation check has been put, so that wrong data should not be sent to the database. It should be checked at the application layer level. So this kind of business logics has been put in the application layer. In SAP, there are multiple such things. Multiple validations are there based on the field, based on the user data type. Again, the database layer. Database is the place where actual software is being stored and actual data is being managed and monitored. Like RDBMS will be in the hard disk, SAP software will also be in the hard disk. Application layer and presentation layer only will be able to access the data. So in your local machine, you don't need to install this SAP. SAP will be in the server. You just need to connect to the server. As I was telling in detail previously, three-tier architecture has three layers, and it is the presentation layer where UI part of our application happens. This layer is used for design purpose, where data presented to the user or intake is taken from the user. Now if SAP changes the design, if they wanted to change the look and feel, color, or the text that is being displayed, they do not need to disturb the business layer and database layer. They can comfortably design the client layer and they can deploy as a batch. Any changes in database and the business logic, similarly, any changes in database and business logic will not impact the end user's presentation layer. Business layer, suppose the SAP wanted to put some more validation, data check or calculation, then they will put the logic in the business layer, where client look and feel wise will not feel any difference. It will be only business layer that is getting impacted. This layer is also called intermediate layer because it acts as an interface between the client layer and database layer. It helps in communication faster between the client and database layer, because all the validation happens in the client layer itself. In the business layer, inform immediately that this data is not correct, please correct this data, or this data is not intended use, so please make the intended data so that this data can be sent to the server or database. So by the time data reaches to database, it is already filtered accurate and correct data which makes sense to the database, and database immediately prompt the correct response based on the database query. The biggest advantage of database layer is validation business logic can implement and modify without disturbing the client and database layer. Similarly, database can be completely changed. We can change complete database. Suppose we are using Oracle 10G or 11G and we want to move to SQL Server 2008. We can easily do this without even a single impact on the UI layer and business layer. Log into SAP. Now, whenever you will receive your system from an organization or you have received some link, you will go to the Citrix. Many times they will use Citrix, or sometimes they will give you this icon, SAP logon icon on your desktop. So this is just a key to access the data. If you double click, then SAP logon will open. SAP logon will have this one page is there. This page, if you click, you can define. If you click on this page icon, you can define that new environment for SAP, where you will give the server path, server name, and then few other details based on the system, and you have to save it. So it will be displayed like ECC This is the name that is given to the server, but the actual server IP address and the path is different, which is defined inside, which you can see by selecting this ECC and then clicking on the pen mark. If you click on the pen mark, it will display the information for editing purpose. Suppose some server names are there or the link names are there which you do not want, then you can delete it also. Now suppose you have clicked on this, double click on this ECC link. In this case, then SAP login page will appear, where you need to provide SAP user and password. That user and password should exist in the system. Then this next screen will displayed, where you will find SAP easy access screen will be displayed, where you can see in easy access screen there are places where you can save your favorite data which you require navigation very often, and you have SAP menu. But basically we will not navigate on like Windows or some other thing. We will use T code based, transaction based. T code stands for transaction, which we'll see in the coming slide. It has now the screen which came, SAP easy access screen, has menu bars. This menu bars change from screen to screen. This option will vary from different based on the user ID access. SAP stands for toolbar. SAP standard toolbar. The standard toolbar does not change from one transaction to another. The same standard toolbar will be displayed. Now the field it is displaying is T code, transaction box, click on open and close transaction, and the yellow button that is seen in the standard toolbar, upward arrow of yellow button. If you double click on this, you will be logged out from the ID you used for login to the system. It's a back button actually. In this screen we can see status bar. This status bar is a very important part because it will display the status of your execution, whether it is a successful, whether the transaction is being completed, if some number is getting generated like PR number, purchase requisition number is generated, PO number is generated, everything will be displayed on the status bar. Status bar will also display the messages. There are three types of messages in SAP. One is warning message, error message, and information message. So information message you can press enter and it will be ignored. Warning message also you can press enter, sometimes multiple times enter are required to ignore, that comes with an exclamation mark, yellow color. And error messages will come with red mark, and error messages cannot be ignored. It says that something is wrong with the some data is wrong, or some issue is there which need to be resolved before proceeding further. As I was talking, T code stands for transaction codes. Why transaction codes are required? There are two main reasons for T code based navigation. T code SAP is a big suite having multiple modules integrated to it. So manually navigation will be time consuming. Say for example, as you have seen, there are some 10 to 12 modules in SAP. Each module will have at least 50 to 60 transactions, 20 even if you take 50 to 60 transactions in an average case. So if you wanted to navigate, the permutation will be 360 transactions. So 360 different screens are there. So if you want to navigate 300 to 400 screens, it will be very much time consuming. So SAP come up with transaction code where you just give the transaction and your desired screen will be displayed in front of you, irrespective of its position wherever it has been kept. SAP follows SOD, segregation of duty, which means every individual should access only that piece of data which he or she is authorized to do. For example, the authorization should be given, everybody will not get all the access, only few access, like somebody working for logistics, he will be given access for a part of logistics or at max the logistics module, but he will not be he may not be having the access for creating material or some other activities like finance part or HCM part. They cannot use the T code itself because that particular ID, user ID, does not have the access. Then how do they maintain this access? Basis team generally used to assign some T codes to one ID. Now that ID can access only the T code that is mentioned, and complete control is handled by basis, SAP basis team. So in all the organizations where SAP is there, there will be one basis team, and the basis team work is to give authorization or revoke authorization. They will provide the authorizations based on the job role of the person, based on the permission that is having from his higher management, that this authorization, this T code authorization, read or write or execute authorization will be given to this person. Based on that, SAP people will, basis people will create the IDs, and the particular IDs will have a limited access, only few T codes and few screens will be given to them. Sometimes, rarely, ID called firefighter access has been given. So this firefighter ID will have all the informations across the modules, but these are given for 1 week or max 15 days as per SAP. That everybody cannot be given access for entire suit. That will create a risk, and that will make the suit not to be tested properly. Reason being that where a suit is supposed to throw an error that authorization error is there, authorization is not there, there also the suit will run smoothly. Then SOD will not be tested. Since authorization is giving on test case basis, test ID or login user ID, it is easy to monitor which user having what access. Further roles, T codes can be added, modified and removed from individual based on the scenarios. Sample T code like SAP MM, like I was discussing how to navigate. You can navigate in SAP using SPRO, logistics, materials management, purchasing, purchase order and create. So if you navigate this much location, you will be able to open purchase order, you will be able to create purchase order. Instead of navigation of so much, you can write directly ME21N and the same screen which was displayed earlier using the navigation SPRO, we can directly go, we will directly get the same screen right in front of us. There are hundreds of T code in SAP MM module alone. We'll see these T codes in the coming classes. Now, how the SAP project, what is the project life cycle? Everything that exists follows a life cycle. There should be a place where it starts, there should be a place where it ends, and stages have certain deliverables. If something started and reach up to some milestone, then we'll say that this stage is completed, and the completion stage act as an entry criteria for the next stage. So for SAP lifecycle, we have, suppose a company which does not have SAP at all or is not dealing with ERP. So first is project preparation. In project preparation phase, they will deal with what are the business flows, what are the business logics that need to be implemented in SAP, what is the process that currently company is following, how we can improvise those process to come up with a better approach, or how we can implement those process in SAP. Now, project preparation has certain deliverables. If project preparation phase completed, then only it will go to the blueprint phase. Now, project preparation phase completed document will act as an entry criteria for blueprint. Now, this blueprint will create solution validation compliancy, solution validation review, what are the solutions that we are building for them and how we are going to implement those solutions. Then solution is validated and customer accepted that whatever flows we are showing, we are designing is correct, and they agree to the flow. And this project preparation and blueprint phase are very time consuming phases, where it a lot of data, Excel work, Word, everything deals with logical, that this need to be implemented, this can be modified, and what multiple things. Now this customer acceptance and solution validation completion act as a input criteria for realization phase, and once customer accepted, we go to the realization phase. In realization phase, actual work on SAP begins, where baseline configuration is done, whatever the customized configurations are required, all the configurations, the data migration from old system to new system is being done. Final configuration and realization is completed. So once everything is done, solution suite is ready. So solution suite we cannot give it directly to the client or to the production. Here comes our part, where we need, once solution is ready, we will start testing. Now to go through the multiple phases of testing, like integration testing, unit testing, component testing, then system integration testing. Once the testing phases are over, it will act, relation is completed, and the solution build and the relation completed will act as a fine input for final preparation. Final preparation is go live readiness, and in this case we will make the software go live in production, and we will check for the readiness that okay, if everything, we will deploy as a pilot phase in the production, and we'll see if everything is working fine or not. Once go live readiness is completed, we'll make the product to go completely live to dealing with real time data, and we will provide support in case of any issue arises, in case of any technical issues or any data issues or some business functionality is not working, then that support has to be given post production.